Hello, and welcome to another episode of Career Conversations podcast. Today, we are talking about career exploration, and we have a student, Kaitlyn. If you would like to introduce yourself and tell us a little about yourself.
Yeah, so my name is Kaitlyn. This is my third year here at Kirkwood. I'm in the nursing program, and I love nursing. I have always wanted to do it, so it was pretty easy for me to figure out what to go to college for.
That's awesome. Good. So I'm curious to learn a little bit more about the whole process that you took in getting to your decision. So as we know, career exploration is gathering information to help you be informed to know which career to choose. So how did you choose the specific major of nursing?
Yeah, so when I was a kid, I was hospitalized for quite a bit of time, and growing up, I always heard about all the amazing nurses at the hospital that took care of me, and one of my nurses actually ended up being my NP now, so I see her yearly, which is awesome.
That's
and
so cool.
She was able to connect me to go ahead and shadow at the hospital that I was a patient in, and I got to shadow one of my old nurses, and that was kind of where it really just was like, yep, this is what I want to do. ICU, yep, all of it, this is for me. And then when I came here, I got a job in Iowa City in the Peds ICU as a tech, and that just further solidified, yep, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. This is what I want to do. And I can't wait to graduate and be an actual nurse.
Yeah, that's awesome. Wow, you have so much like that built up, and it was multiple things that brought you to this. So your own experience as well as doing a job shadow, which we know can be a huge thing to learn from just about the career field itself. And then also you have a part-time job in the hospital. So that's awesome. It's a really good experience. Can you, okay, so while in the program, what have you discovered about yourself in the nursing program here at Kirkwood?
I discovered that I'm not the best studier, and I still need to work on that. But besides that, I have further found that I love cardiology, and I love learning about the heart, and It's my jam. I love it.
That's awesome. Do you think that when you first wanted to go into nursing, was there a certain area that you wanted, and then you kind of discovered more of the cardiovascular, or has it always been the same?
Yeah, so I've always known pretty young that I wanted to do Peds ICU, and then I was like, yeah, the heart's pretty cool. And then working at the hospital, I'm like, yep, I want to do extra training to specialize in peds cardiology in the ICU and just be able to take care of those cardiac complicated kids. And so I just love learning about the heart as well. So I'm excited about that.
That's very good. So for this part-time job, is this something that was a part of your program, like clinicals, or is this something that you sought out on your own?
This is something that I sought out on my own. So my first semester here, I was just kind of scrolling and I saw they were doing like a hiring event down in Iowa. And I was like, oh, I should check and see if they have anything in the Peds ICU, because I knew that that's where I wanted to work if I were to get a job in the hospital. I was like, if I get a hospital job, that's the only job on the hospital that I would want. I would only want to work on that floor. And then it ended up working out, and I ended up getting a job, and I've been there for over 2 years now.
Wow, that's awesome. I imagine that you're learning so many things from your experience that you can also apply to your classes and vice versa. So in addition to that, what other extracurricular activities are you doing now as a student that you believe are going to help prepare you for being a nurse outside of the part-time job?
Yeah, so one thing that I think is super beneficial to me is being a part of Dance Marathon. This is my third year, and this year I am the core leader of family relations. So I get to reach out to the families, check up, see how they're doing, and just coordinate them to come to our big event and share their stories. And I think just hearing so many other stories and how it impacted them and how they were able to persevere just furthers my desire to work in peds, especially ICU, and to see those kids overcome all of those difficult things that they go through.
Sure. Wow. That is incredible experience that is just adding. I have done Dance Marathon as well when I was a student at Kirkwood. So it's an amazing experience. And the role that you have specifically in relation to the families is awesome experience. So definitely things that you'll be able to add to your resume. So very cool. Imagine you are on the stage at graduation. If you had to look back and pinpoint helpful tips or steps along your career journey, what were they, and how do you think they'll help you in the job search?
I think one would definitely be shadowing because you can go into your interviews and be like, I've shadowed, I know that this is where I want to be. Also, the aspect of having a job on that specific unit gives you so much experience. Like, I worked on this floor, I know how it works, I know what I need to be doing in emergency situations. That just also is like on the experience aspect of things. And I think, also Dance Marathon, not only the kiddos and hearing their stories, but also like the difficult conflicts that may arise on the outside. Like sometimes there's conflict and you need to figure that out. And that is another good experience that I have had. And it was great to like figure out a good professional way to deal with that. And then I can take that on and be like, this is how I deal with conflict. So there's just a bunch of different experiences and that are going to benefit me in the job search, I believe.
Absolutely. And even sometimes there's conflict with patients. And so having those good skills is going to make you have really good patient care skills. So that's really great that you already see those connections. So one last question for you. What advice do you have for Kirkwood students when they're exploring careers, or it could be just advice in general for being a college student?
For the first part, I would definitely say shadow if you can. Go, and if you aren't sure or you have like different options, go and shadow on each of those and then come back and say, I liked this, I didn't quite like this, and then weigh your options. And if you do need to be like, hey, I'm between these two, go get a second opinion, ask a friend, career services, anybody, they will be able to give you great advice on what you would want to do with that. And then secondly, make sure you figure out how to study and study well. That you may think you were a good studier because you did good in high school. College is different. It's completely different, especially if you are in the nursing program. That is a whole entire different ball game, not only with studying, but as well as the exam questions, because it's not what's 2 + 2. It's if you have 4 apples and you need to have 6, how do you get more? Or like applying. It's a totally different thing.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for the tips on how to explore different careers and that process, and really emphasizing how good of experience you had with your job shadow and how that can be beneficial. And then also even just advice for a college student in learning study tips. So thank you so much for joining for the podcast today, and we appreciate you listening.